Welcome to the Summer Drum-A-Long-A-Thon, where we are asking the important questions like, can playing video games make you better at music? Well, of course, it depends on the video game, and I'd say using rhythm video games is a good way to get better at rhythm. Big surprise there. You don't have to play on those plastic instruments, though. You can play on whatever object you want today. I'm playing on balloons. Just normal balloon in a tube. And through the magic of sound science, it sounds very slappy. I can also use another balloon, put it on my legs, and it makes a bit of a thud, and then you get a thud. So, balloons are one way you could do this, or really, use whatever object you want. But we are going to use whatever object we want, and we're going to play along with a game called Taiko no Tatsujin. Now, this game will throw dots at you, and you'll see dots starting to come down this track, and when dots hit a certain point, you have to tap in time with that dot. It'll give you either a red dot or a blue dot. So you need an object that will make two sounds when you tap it. This could be your knees. This could be any object really will do. Or you don't even need an object. You can snap, tap. You can just say words along with the things. But really, the whole time, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to listen deeply. And you're going to want to look for repeating patterns. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to talk about repeating patterns all the time because music is just that, repeating patterns. When we started, I had this little loop going. Which has a few patterns going on, and I can lock into this pattern. And I can feel the pulse of the music. We talked a lot about pulse last week, subdividing. I can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And then so you can put whatever pattern you want on top of that, and it's the interconnection of these patterns that makes something musical. But we are going to see repetition all over the place. So I realize I need to load up my game because sometimes I forget. Just hit that and get that going, and I'm going to play that. Apologies. So, like I said, this is a game called Taiko no Tatsujin that we're going to be playing with most of the day. I've also made some beatmaps on some other software, and we'll look at those as well. But Taiko no Tatsujin, this was made in Japan for the arcades back in the early 2000s when plastic instruments were still a big thing. In fact, this was probably during the height of the rhythm game opus that was Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all those things. This game could be found in arcades. You would usually hit a giant plastic drum, and red would be hitting it in the middle, and blue would be hitting it on the rim. There's a mascot for the game, little Don-chan. Don-chan is a taiko drum. You can see Don-chan flying on the little cloud. So there's several versions of this game. You can, it's been available on Wii's and PlayStation 3s and PS4s. And I had a couple of, when I bought this, I bought it on Nintendo Switch during the pandemic. And this version is on my Steam account. So you can buy this game any way you want. We have been going through the different categories that this game offers over the days. It has lots of music in the base game, about 75 to 80 tracks, And it has pop music, anime, Vocaloid, variety, classical, game music, and Namco originals. So we went on a mission to try to play all of the songs in the base game, because there's also a subscription service where you can get all sorts of music. And we finished all of the Namco originals, which is the strangest category. It had a lot of electronic dance music, lots of stuff. So now that we're finished the base game, I did go and subscribe to the Taiko Music Pass for the next month. We'll see how long I want to keep doing it. And there's a lot more music. But because there was so much EDM and stuff yesterday, I do want to play some... I'm a bit of a palate cleanser. We're going to drum to classical music all day, but we have a whole bunch of new classical tunes. So let's start. Which one's the lowest? Let's start with the Turkish March. So while we're playing this, you're going to see repeating patterns in the dots, and you're going to hear repeating patterns in the music, and your job is to connect those dots to the music and play in time. You'll always be looking towards the future and then hitting it in time. So we're going to start, let's start on normal mode, 4-star normal mode, and listen to the music that will guide you as to when to place the notes in time. Look for the patterns. Let's do some Mozart. All right, an interesting interpretation of the Turkish March. I think that song's actually supposed to be just piano, or Mozart wrote it for piano. So it's a little bit funny to hear the trumpets in there. Anyway, let's keep it in the Mozart zone. This is A Little Serenade. You've heard this song before, I'm sure. So you've probably heard this song lots in your life, or at least I did. I don't know how much they play Mozart still these days. But this, since you know the patterns to this tune, ba 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 ba, lovely interpretation vocally. Since you know that tune, where are they going to place the pattern? In normal mode, let's see. Let's see how they're going to fit the patterns of the drum to this piece. A little serenade. Serenade. I don't know. All right, here we go. Remember, look for repeating patterns. I hope you're using your refined drum stylings. You know, you don't have to smack it all the time. You can tap lightly. So if we're playing Mozart, you know, maybe you don't want to whack it quite so hard. Yeah, you know, try to match the vibe of the music with the way you hit it. But more important than what you do is when you do it. The real goal is to play in time. Okay, so we did Turkish March. We didn't do Marriage of Figaro yet. I'm going to keep it in the Mozart zone. Or do you want to... We could jump back. No, let's keep it in the Mozart zone. We're going to do all the Mozart, and then we're going to jump to a different composer. Again, Mozart, like, I love Mozart because these tunes are played all the time, so they because they're so good. But they do get stuck in your head. They are repeating patterns done right. Because, you know, you don't want it to be too repetitious, but you don't want it to be too obscure either. Okay, Marriage of Figaro, Mozart, 5-star mode. So a little bit trickier than the last one. even a couple of 100 years later, Mozart still slaps. Great music, some offbeat stuff there. So I hope you were counting and subdividing. Actually, you don't have to count to play this game, but if you do count and subdivide, then you will hear those notes that are off the beat. All right, let's do some stormy Mozart. G minor. Listen to those offbeats. That's what made Beethoven and Mozart really fun, was not only the harmonies, but they were rhythmically very interesting composers. Here we go, normal 5-star. Look for the repeating patterns. If you don't get it the first time, try it the second. Here we go. Great piece by Mozart. Very fun beat map. Yeah, I like the easy mode or the normal mode on that one. I wonder how much worse it is on extreme. It's 7-star extreme, which is generally the peak of what I can do. On normal mode, especially in this one, they didn't throw as many offbeats. Like, they interpret the pattern, whatever they feel the level that you'll be right at, and offbeats are a little bit harder. Let's just look at extreme. I'll try and play along and look for the repeating patterns in this one versus the normal mode. And if you can't do it all, that's okay. Try to either talk to the pattern or play what you can, especially if it's a repeating bit. Then maybe you can get it the second time. But some of this is going to be pretty tricky. Yeah, those are awesome. thanks for indulging me. That was pretty tricky, but I've done it before, and it's fun. That's a fun beat map. And yeah, expert mode, as long as the pattern is not too difficult. What I love about it is there's lots of like flow, lots of pickup. Yeah, good stuff. So we did these ones. I think that's all the Mozart that we have on offer. Jump to the other side of this. Let's jump a couple of centuries. George Gershwin, best known for Rhapsody in Blue and of course, the tune Summertime from Porgy and Bess and some other stuff like that. But he wrote some great tunes that were orchestrated like an American in Paris. But yeah, amazing composer. Let's get off extreme mode. I can't even do 8-star extreme for the most part. Definitely not sight read it. And if you're not familiar with this piece, then we're going to get to know it on normal mode. 4 stars. Huge influence on movie music Gershwin had. Knew that last lap was coming up. Man, I think that piece is actually like 10 or 15 minutes, so I sort of wish that they had the whole version, although it would become quite fatiguing. But yeah, great composer. Not enough love for Gershwin out there. Let's do another Gershwin, Concerto in F, and then we'll do the big one, Rhapsody in Blue, which is also 15 minutes, and I wish they had the whole thing because it's a banger from start to finish. But yeah. Gershwin was a monster piano player. So this is very much a solo for a piano and orchestra. So it's not a solo, it's a concerto with a piano soloist. Anyway, 5 stars, so this is going to be a little bit trickier. And Gershwin loves the rhythmic technicalities, but look for those repeating patterns and you will get it. Maybe not on your first try. Definitely on the second go around. 6 meter going on, but it doesn't matter. We don't have to count. Tempo change. Hit again, right? It's coming up. Oh, I love how bombastic orchestration was in the early 20th century. I grew up listening to a lot of Rhapsody in Blue, especially in my teenage years. I saw a couple concerts. I think I wrote a report on Rhapsody in Blue. One of the great orchestral pieces, in my opinion. And this is going to be like a 3-minute condensed version of Rhapsody in Blue, but this song is like a 15-minute epic. Wonderful music. Let's do 4-star Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin on this all classical Thursday. Okay. that normal beatmap isn't great. In that I don't think it achieved the flow of that piece very well. I mean, I'm also disappointed with how much that's edited, but that's because I know it too intimately. So I bet hard is more fun and extreme is more fun, because they could probably achieve flow in that one. But that's okay. Let's keep going. Let's do one more from the 20th century. This is a piece called Mars, the Bringer of War by Gustav Holst, which is part of an entire piece that he wrote around the planets. So each planet that was known at the time got a little song. And I think Pluto has a song in it because, you know, it was the early 20th century. But Mars, the Bringer of the War, if you've ever heard a little piece of music about Imperial stormtroopers and like the Imperial theme, heavily influenced. Like it basically sounds like cliche movie army music, but this is from like 1920, so sort of predates it all. Anyway, awesome track. Lots of repeating patterns, so let's play along. Normal mode, 5 stars. Mars. Hear that repeating pattern a lot. Yeah, listen to all of the planets. It's great. Jupiter's fantastic. I love Saturn, Neptune. All of them pretty terrific. Okay, we have lots of great new classical music to choose from. Yeah, let's do these 4 actually. Wow. All right. This is a tune that you know, I bet. If you are my age, then you would have known this as the Can-Can. If you are younger, you would know this as the song from that YouTube video where they do the periodic table. This is the periodic table. Noble gas is stable. Something, something. I don't know. I watched it a while ago. But this is Overture from Orpheus in the Underworld by Jacques Offenbach. Let's do normal mode. It's a classic, but it's a classic for a reason. Patterns. Always fun. Yeah, just fast paced, super music. That's from the 19th century. So we've had a little bit of 18th century music. We've had some 20th century music. We've had some 19th century music. Let's keep it in the 19th century with another piece from an opera, the Prelude from Carmen, which might be one of my favorite operas. So, sort of a similar vein to Orpheus in the Underworld, but equally great in different ways. All right, we'll do a couple more tracks, then we'll look at some other stuff from this YouTube channel. But let's keep up and Taiko no Tatsujin for now. Repeating patterns. nice. Lots of wonderful songs in Carmen. It's been fun doing this classical music deep dive, and nice to broaden the number of classical songs. And there are more classical songs in the Taiko Music Pass, but these were just some of the ones I downloaded for today. Let's do two more. We're going to do, again, a very famous piece, this time from a ballet. Sort of Christmas music, but that's okay. That's okay. It's almost August. Let's go normal mode. 5-star. It's nice that these songs aren't quite as tricky as yesterday. Remember, look for repeating patterns. And the way this game works is that, like, that was normal mode, but they introduced some, like, that little what they would do is in, like, extreme mode, they'll just throw a lot more of those at you. So they're teaching you how to play the hard stuff. Like, they're throwing the patterns at you, just not as much. Let's just look at the extreme of this. And you'll see what I mean. They'll just throw a lot more of that stuff at us. They're confusing with those. All right, I missed some of that. That's fine. But a lot of those patterns, minus the a lot of that was contained in the normal. It's just they throw a lot more at you a lot faster. But, like, there was nothing in that piece that, like, there's no patterns in there that are completely from left field. It's just they throw those patterns, they throw them at you faster. But what I love about this game is that you always play at speed, even the fastest songs. Like, of course, there's extreme mode where it's 9 stars, too many notes. But on normal, it's only 4 stars. So try to hear the patterns between the hits. Like what is the music doing between your hits? Because I guarantee you they're not making you play every note of Flight of the Bumblebee by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. Here we go. So yeah, even though that's like known as one of the fastest pieces out there, you can still, there's still like patterns that are slower within that. And in fact, that drum part, the doop, boop, bop, boop, boop, bop, boop, bop, boop, is also like half the orchestra is plucking just a single string, pluck, 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 pluck. So they're doing that same rhythmic pattern within the game. So yeah, what I love about this game is that you can get better at it just by continuing to play pieces. You don't always have to go back and practice, but there are a couple of spikes in difficulty that you just kind of have to go and train a little bit. And one way that I trained was actually finding some of these tracks on YouTube and then just playing them at slow mode. And then just some of those trickier patterns that they were playing so fast, I just had to get them under my hands. So there are methods to practice, but you do get better just by playing this game over and over, like just keeping on new track, because there's only so many patterns they can throw at us, right? Like with either a blue or a red dot. Let me just bring up. And I can't find my image. Here we go. So, in groups of two, you can have either red, you can have red-blue, you can have blue-red, or blue-blue. That's the entirety of the patterns that you can build out of 2 bits, right? If you go to 3 dots, now you have 8. Before you had 4 different patterns, now you have 8 different patterns. Or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da ba ba, boo ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba boo, ra ba ba. This is the entirety of potential 3-bit patterns. Every time you add a dot, though, it doubles the number of possible patterns, right? When you add a 4th dot, then all of a sudden you have 16. And then with 5, there are 32 different patterns. 6-bit, you might get a trend, is 64. This is the same with, this is basically binary, right? Computers, every time you add a bit, it can double the number of codes, combinations of things. So breaking it down like this was actually quite helpful, and I did make some videos featuring these patterns to practice to. So actually, let's look at one of those. We're going to do the 4-bit, all the 4-bit patterns. Let's see, I have to go up here. So feel that pulse. Here's the first one. Ba, 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 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It's good to lead with different hands each time. 'Cause ideally, your right and left will be almost as strong as each other. Last 4. Now let's do them a little bit faster. This helps us get it into our muscle memory. Some of these will be hard the first time. Here we go, faster. So those are all the 4-bit patterns, and it won't be easy necessarily the first time you try that. These things are hard the first time you do it. So that is available, though, to practice. You can even slow it down. You can play things on YouTube at half speed, 75% speed. So just slow it down and go through those drills. And that is available on this YouTube channel. I also take songs and make beat maps of them. I even made a classical music piece. This again is from the 20th century. It's a strange piece of music called clapping music by a composer named Steve Reich. And it's a simple pattern. Usually it's clapped. Bop, bop, bop. So you get a whole bunch of people doing that pattern. Bop, 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 bop. And there are 12 bits to that pattern. There's like, I think 8 claps and 4 rests. And basically, someone continues doing that the whole time, and then the other half of the group starts shifting the pattern over. Don't worry about what's happening. All you have to do is choose either the red to follow or the blue to follow. The blue is the one that switches. The red is the one that holds tight. So, see if you can follow along. This is on the YouTube channel, so if you want to try it again, go practice on there. Oops, bring that down. Let's bring that up. I'm going to clap in the background. You're switching. Here we go. All right. When I was in composer school, I saw the percussion ensemble perform that, without any music. They just they memorized that pattern and shift. So that was quite impressive to watch that. All right. I hope this was a fun Thursday jam along. All very serious classical music that we balloon drummed all over, because that's the way we roll. So join me tomorrow as we continue the Summer Drum-A-Long-A-Thon, brought to you by Beatmap Music. I am the pegboardist. So you can watch these again. You can slow things down if they're too fast. You can send me little notes about what you're drumming on, or whether you find the drumming part too intimidating, or let me know if you want another in. There's lots of ways to play this game wrong. We will never run out. So, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.